Other credits that could result in lowering your tax burden or even a large refund include the Earned Income the Tax Credit and the Child Independent Care Credit. The latter was made refundable in 2021, meaning up to $8,000 could get reimbursed on expenses for daycare and such, which show up on tax refunds. However, households that welcome the new family member could also be eligible for $1,400 for the third economic stimulus check. We have a lot of good news about the fourth stimulus payment that I want you to know, so continue watching the video. President Biden is now meeting with Democrats and Republicans to finally reach an agreement on the next package. Americans are urging President Biden to sign a new executive order that would allocate billions of dollars towards a fourth round of payments. So, we have some good news. President Biden's administration is actually going to renew its push with lawmakers to secure crisis funding this week. That's according to a White House official that told CNN that following inaction from the Senate on a $10 billion funding package, it is likely a deal will be reached very soon. The White House official has said as Congress turns back to work, the Biden administration will be focused on working with lawmakers to secure funds to keep aid flowing and continue protecting the American people from the crisis. The Biden administration has been sounding the alarm for weeks that additional funding is needed to continue the federal crisis, even as it seeks return to normal. The Biden administration also requested $22.5 billion in supplemental crisis relief funding in a massive government funding package, but it was removed from the bill. It included funding for the crisis, testing, and treatments. Negotiators were able to reach an agreement on a scaled-back $10 billion package, but Congress left Washington earlier this month without passing a bipartisan bill amid a disagreement over some policies. The inaction before the break marked the second time a deal on a crisis relief package has been scuttled over in just over a month. In March, a $15.6 billion package has been negotiated on by the House Representatives and Senate leaders, but it collapsed because people couldn't agree on how to pay for it. And one of the major promises made by President Biden's election campaign was landmark the decision to cancel student debt. Over a year into the presidency, and nothing has happened of that sort. It has been proven to be a major stumbling block for the Democrats as they approach the midterm elections in November. After canceling much of the crisis-era spending plans, voters who are not inspired to vote for the Democrats, and a large-scale defeat is extended.
Rural America, inner city America, suburban America, throughout every single school district in America. That's part of the whole legislation we passed in terms of infrastructure. It started now, it's going to create millions of jobs as well, for real. But again, we got to get in the 21st century. We got to move. And the budget I propose supports schools, supports students, and supports you. To bridge the gap between under-resourced schools and their wealthier counterparts, we're proposing a $19 billion increase in Title I schools, and mostly historically underfunded schools in our nation. We got to let them catch up. That investment would more than double the current funding of Title I schools. And also proposing the largest increase in special education funding in 2 decades. We made the promise, we've never fulfilled it. We've got to fulfill it. Going to add another $1 billion commitment with the goal of doubling the number of social workers, school counselors, and school nurses in K through 12. And by the way, thanks to the American Rescue Plan, we're making real progress toward that goal. And to support you, the educators, my budget includes $610 million increase teacher diversity, effectiveness, and retention. It's true. As all of you know, it takes time to become a teacher, the teachers you are today. But nearly 1 in 10 teachers leaves the profession every year, with the youngest teachers being the most likely ones to leave first. So we got to invest in ways to keep them in the profession. This year, my administration helped over 150 public servants, including teachers, get 150,000, get school forgiveness loans for college loans through changes we made in the public service loan forgiveness program. The last team kind of messed it up.
Adding up to an extra $4,000 over the next 2 years. Senator Warren said, "It's increasing Social Security benefits is the quickest way to get money out the door during an economic time like this. And the idea of boosting Social Security benefits by $200 per month was also included in President Elizabeth Warren's presidential campaign platform." The move comes as many Social Security beneficiaries feel left out. Senator Chuck Schumer, Senator Mitch McConnell has also put forward a proposal that included SSI, Social Security income. However, because the plan urges and uses income from 2018 tax returns as a qualifier, it can leave out many people. We have a ton of news to go over about the fourth stimulus check. Continue watching this video to find out the latest news on this. President Biden is finally taking and helping the American people. President Biden is taking action and ready to help the people. Here's some breaking news, everybody. IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick has just sounded alarm over the agency's massive backlog of unprocessed returns, which he warned could lead to a challenging tax season. In a statement for Yahoo News, IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick acknowledged that millions of people are still waiting for the prior year's tax returns to be processed and refund checks to arrive in the mail, but committed to returning to normal inventory levels before next year. Chuck Reddick also said, "We have taken extraordinary measures to work through this time." But the big news is for people that are currently waiting to receive tax refund payments for this year. Chuck Reddick noted the agency is also grossly understaffed. And according to the Congressional Budget Office, it is 20,000 fewer staff than it did in 2010. And this is going to cause some backlog.
That was planned in the backdrop of the imminent invasion of Ukraine. That became obviously the centerpiece of the Munich Security Conference. Many of us have gone to that conference over the years to talk about security, economy, and how that relates to security, and governance, and how that relates to security. In fact, those three things, security, economy, and governance, are the purpose of any foreign travel of members of Congress. The Munich conference, it gives us a distilled way to see so many leaders from so many countries on those subjects. And at this time, of course, the focus was Ukraine. We had more than one delegation, but around 40 members of Congress, House and Senate, Democrats and Republicans, all united in our support for the transatlantic alliance, NATO, all of us united in being there to remove all doubt in Putin or anyone else's mind that we were acting as one. And of course, that would have been our message with or without Ukraine. Ukraine made it even more so, because now we're talking about sanctions and the rest. We are very proud of our Vice President our President whose leadership has been outstanding, and the message was delivered to the conference by the Vice President. It was well received, it was unifying, it was firm in terms of how we would work together for sanctions should there be an invasion of Ukraine. That another nation should be part of NATO. We just met with the Secretary General of NATO, for whom we have great respect, and again, it's self-determined by a country that they might want to make the appeal. It's up to all of NATO to decide.
Because President Biden and many Democrats, as well as Republicans, want to help out the American people with a fourth stimulus check, and I cannot wait for President Biden to send it out. So Democratic senators are on board for more stimulus bills this year. This will be a big change to millions of people